Hey you guys, how's it going? It's Wednesday. Thought we'd cook some dinner. But tonight we're going to do a quick dinner. This will be like a good quick weeknight meal. Only because I just spent a fair amount of time thinking about what the hell we're going to have for supper, right? And I was thinking something quick, something involving chicken. Got a lot going on, baking some cakes and stuff like that. And I'm trying to get as much done today as I can because tomorrow, national holiday, kid you not, national holiday. On June 9th, 1971, one of the greatest men in American history was born. That would be me. It's my birthday. So, I'm trying to get everything done today, so I have to do little to nothing tomorrow. So that we do a quick meal. Not a crock pot meal, it's a casserole. But it's going to be a fun casserole, I think. And first thing we're going to do while we're sitting here talking and I'm giving my spiel is we're going to turn our oven on 350 degrees because that's what this casserole requires. We are going to make a Cracker Barrel chicken and rice casserole. It's a copycat recipe that I found, and I'm going to alter it because I want to. I know normally we follow the recipe. I mean, I wrote it down, but it's so simple we don't really need to write it down. And there were a couple of things I felt like I wanted to put in it that I knew our family would like. So, that being said, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm glad you found me. I hope you get something out of this video and check out some of my other videos and get something out of that. We do pretty much all things food related around here. Channel started out as fish because that is one of like 3 hobbies I have. But due to circumstances and life happening, I still have fish, but we moved on from being a fish channel to a food channel where we do all things food. We cook on Wednesday nights, we bake on Thursdays, we do gardening, we do woodworking that's related to food. I mean, as far as like building spice cabinets and building stuff for the garden. Here soon, hopefully, we're going to start building a kitchen. Things have just gone amok in the background, behind the scenes. But we're getting there. And we do some canning and processing of food, and we're going to start doing some dehydrating and vacuum and sealing and freezing and stuff like that here soon also. It's just finding time to do it all, basically, but we're getting there. So, anyhow. Subscribe if you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe box down below me. Right next to that is a notification bell. That'll let you know when my videos come out. They come out 2 times a week, sometimes 3, but not very often anymore. And then thumbs up, thumbs down. If nothing else, they let me know how I'm doing. And that's important. If I'm doing a good job, I love the fact you tell me I'm doing a good job. But if I'm doing a bad job, that's okay if you let me know too. Or if you're just being a jerk and you want to give me a thumbs down, okay. It serves 2 purposes. Not only does it let me know how I'm doing in a brief overview, but it also gets us out on more people's YouTube feeds, and our community can grow. Remember, we're a community of good neighbors who try to get along with each other as best we can, and we're always making new friends. And I love to make new friends. Comments are always a plus. The only thing I ask with comments is that we keep them respectful. It's okay to disagree, just think before you type. I do respond to all my comments, not that I get a lot of them, but I do respond to all of them. And in a timely fashion, of course. So, that being said, let's get the camera down here and we're going to play around with this Cracker Barrel chicken casserole. I really think you're going to like this. It's quick, it's easy, it's all literally stuff you should have in your pantry. Like basic pantry, like I just moved out of my mom and dad's house and this is all I got to eat in my house type pantry. So let me get you down here and we'll see what we can do. Alright, so we've got things we will need. A 13 by 9 casserole, 9 by 13 casserole dish. First thing I did was, first thing we did was turn on the oven, right? We gotta get it up to 350 degrees. Then I took my 9 by 13 casserole dish and I just sprayed it with a vegetable spray to coat it, non-stick. And after we do that, next thing we're going to do is, I cooked up some rice earlier. You're going to want to cook up 2 cups of rice, okay? Any rice you want. long grain, short grain, white rice, wild rice, brown rice. I'm using jasmine because that's what we like. We got away from just standard white and brown rice a long time ago. Not that any rice is really healthy for you, but short grain and long grain white rice are not the best choices as far as rice goes when it comes to somewhat healthy eating. So we're gonna flatten this out on the bottom here. Jasmine is a naturally sticky rice. Yeah, it's like basmati. If you don't mix it with other stuff, it's a fairly sticky rice also, but not a true sticky rice. All right, so we got that layered out like such. The next thing we're gonna need after we put our 2 cups of rice in here, cooked rice. So, and you can use instant rice. You know, heat it up, boil it up in some water for 10 minutes, put her in here. That's all you have to do. The next thing we need is 1 medium onion. And I just rough chopped it up. It's just, you know, rough chopped. And nothing special, no mini dice, no slices, anything like that. And I'm going to layer that on top of here. Now, you don't have to use a whole onion. Maybe you don't like onion. You can pick another vegetable. But this is what the recipe called for, was one onion chopped, almost diced, almost diced, chopped, fine chopped, I guess. There's so many different ways to do things, so many different wordings for doing things. You know, you've got minced, you've got fine diced, you've got fine chopped, you've got rough chopped, you've got sliced, thin, thick, or medium. There's 1,000,001 ways. Okay, so we got our onions on there. The next thing we need is about 1.5 pounds of chicken breast. All right, and what I did was I patted it dry, because even when you pull it out of the package, it is always a little wet. And that's just the brine or the chicken broth that they inject the chickens with. Yes, they inject the chickens with brine and broth. The reason why they do that is to help with moisture content, you know, to keep the chicken around a little longer. The salt and the brine, or the salt in the chicken stock, really help to keep chicken around a little longer. It's like their version of refrigeration, or preserving. So we get the chicken lined up on here. I'm telling you, this is so easy. And 1.5 pounds of chicken breast is about 2 chicken breasts. So if you buy a big family pack, which by the way, a family pack of 5 is the same price as a regular pack of 3. And nowadays, the family pack's probably the better way to go. And then you can always freeze it, break it up and freeze it. That's what we do. I just don't like the fact that at the moment I can't afford to go to the butcher, and I'm forced to go back to the grocery store for meats. Okay, so we got the chicken lined up on there. And then the next thing we need to put on here, and there's a couple options to this, is a can of cream of mushroom. All right, and we're not going to add anything to it. Sorry about that. Had to go get something to scoop it with. We're not going to water this down or anything like that. We're just going to put it on top of here and smear it over. Smear that over like such. Tell you, this is like the easiest dish in the entire world, because we're pretty much done. The base recipe that was given was pretty much just this. We got one more ingredient to add to the base recipe, and that would be all there is to it. Now, she had recommended adding peas and carrots to it. That's what she does to get some vegetables into her kids' diet. And I don't remember now what the name of the person was that gave off the recipe, but it was on All Recipe, the All Recipe website. But she had recommended doing, sorry, my oven's going off. So we know it's at 350. We're ready to go. I am going to add some mixed vegetables all the way around, not just peas and carrots, but this has got corn and green beans in it. It's just frozen veggies. Nothing spectacular. You should have frozen veggies in your freezer, and if you don't, shame on you. because you should. Frozen veggies are good for, well, veggies in general are good for you. Yeah, and frozen ones are probably better for you than canned, because they're not heated up, so all the vitamins aren't lost in the processing. Where frozen, they're just flash frozen real quick at a really cold temperature, and it holds in all that nutrients. So I've got the frozen vegetable mix in there, and then I am going to put some mushrooms on top of that. Why, you ask? Well, because I can. No, because we like mushrooms, and to me it just sounds like it would be a good fit. This is almost like a chicken a la king. In reality, I mean, I don't know if you've ever had chicken a la king. I haven't had it since I was a kid, but it's very similar. You know, it's chicken in a cream sauce with rice or noodles, and vegetables. All right, so the last ingredient to add to this is 1 cup of chicken gravy. Now, in the recipe, it says you can use just a powder mix. You buy a powder mix and then add a cup of water to it, or you can just buy like a jar of gravy and do it that way. Now, I didn't have either. I've got a brown gravy mix. I've got all kinds of chicken stock, and I can't use a brown gravy mix. This is chicken, but I do have a bunch of chicken stock down in the basement that we made. So I went ahead and just made my own gravy. I'll leave the recipe for the gravy down below, along with the recipe ingredient or the ingredients list for this. That way, if you want to make your own gravy, it's really easy. All you do is it's butter, a 1/2 cup of butter melted in the pan, then a 1/2 cup of flour. You put it in the butter. You whisk it until it becomes fragrant. It takes about 10 minutes. And then you slowly add your chicken stock in while you're whisking it. And you let it boil until you let it simmer till it starts to thicken up, which is about 15 minutes. 15 more minutes. And then after that, you dump in 1/3 cup of heavy cream, salt and pepper, and cayenne to taste. Done. That's it. Yeah, a handful of simple ingredients. All right, so I'm going to grab my measuring cup, and I know you're saying to yourself, Brian, what are you doing dumping the entire cup in the pot? Why not? It's going to get washed. That's going to go in the freezer. Yeah, that's the beauty of making all this gravy. You can go in the freezer. You can use it for other dishes. So we're going to pour that on top. Right? Pouring that on top. Like so. We're losing things. Alright, got that on there. Now I'm going to get some foil. Got the aluminum foil out. Back the gravy up. And we're just going to put the foil over top of it. If I can get it to pair. There we go. Oops. Now with foil, it's always shiny side up. Why, I don't know, but I'm sure there's a reason. Sometimes it's better just not to ask. But, shiny side up. Good. Now, all we have to do is put this bad boy in the oven. So, we'll put it in the oven at 350 degrees. I'm going to do that right now so that I get the stuff out of the way of the oven. I cannot wait to remodel a kitchen. Yeah, by the time it's said and done with this house, we will have 3 functional kitchens, which is kind of cool. Alright, got that in the oven. We're going to cook this we're going to cook it in the oven for 45 minutes. When it's about 35 minutes, I'm going to change the dish up again because that's it. It bakes for 45 minutes, then you take the foil off and let it go. I am going to add a little to that. At about 35 minutes, I'm going to take the foil off and I'm going to add some breadcrumbs and some Colby cheese to the top of that. So I'm going to shred up some Colby cheese, about a cup's worth, put that on there, and then I'm going to put some breadcrumbs on it. So when I come back, we'll put the cheese and the breadcrumbs on it, take a look at it, put it back in the oven, and give it about another 10 minutes, and then it should be ready to eat. Well, we'll let it cool down and be ready to eat. So anyhow, I'll see you here in just a few minutes. Okay, so we got about 15 minutes left on the timer or so. I'm going to go ahead and take the foil off of this, set it to the side. Might be able to reuse it, it's still clean. We're going to take about a cup and a quarter's worth of cheese, as much cheese as you want. And I'm going to, or if you even want to put cheese on it, don't have to. We'll go ahead and get that on there. This is breaking all the rules. Actually, it's not breaking any rules, because the truth of the matter is, when you're cooking, it's okay to make it your own. It's preferred to make it your own. I just try my hardest to follow the recipe the first go around, but I couldn't resist on this one. It just sounded too tempting to make a difference. So, got about a cup and a half of cheese on there. Now we're going to sprinkle some breadcrumbs on the top. Yeah, you can use your favorite breadcrumbs. I'm using some Italian style breadcrumb seasoning that I had up in the cabinet, because why not? Get that on there like such. That way that way we've got a little crunch in there, and we've got the gooiness of the cheese. Now I'm going to put this in here for the remaining amount of time. Let the breadcrumbs brown up a little bit. Let the cheese melt. Be right back. Timer just went off on our casserole. So we'll pull this out and set it right there. Now, it's 45 minutes or until the chicken's done. So how do you know when the chicken's done? Well, we're going to stick a thermometer and a piece of chicken in here, and it really won't matter where we hit because the chicken was evenly layered, but we want to go near the center, and we should be right around 165, and we are well above 165. We are in the 175, 176 range, so we are good. We know our chicken is done. Now, we could go ahead and throw this in a bowl right this very second and give it a taste, but I don't want to burn my face off. So, and I like to keep my tongue intact and my taste buds going. So what we're going to do is we're going to let this sit for about 10 minutes and just let it rest. We're going to let everything settle down, get back together with each other, get to know each other. So when I come back, we will scoop up a piece of some of this into a bowl and give it a taste. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so we let it cool for about 10-15 minutes. I went downstairs to the grocery store and dug out, found the very last jar of jalapenos we did for last year. But there's an up-close look at that. It just hit me. I didn't bring you in to take a look. I don't know how important that is to you guys, but I think it's important that you see what it looks like before we cut into it. But if you don't think so, let me know. And you know, if majority says that's dumb, it's a waste of time, then we'll stop doing it. But all right, so let's go ahead and get this served. I'm just going to put it in a bowl. I know it smells good. It looks good. But that doesn't mean it tastes good, right? That's served up there. I want a little more of the crunchiness on the top there, personally. There we go. All right. And there we have that in the bowl with the mess on the side. Here, I'll turn it to the non-mess side so it looks professional. Just don't tell anybody. All right. So, I'm going to throw some jalapenos on this, because I think jalapenos go with everything. That's just my opinion. And I will say, this is just from pickling experience, well, canning experience, pickling. Jalapenos seem to get hotter the longer they sit in a jar. These are from last August, I believe. They're from last season, the jalapenos from last season. Yeah, August 14th of 21. And they have seemed to gain a fair amount of heat. sitting over the winter. But like I said, this is the last jar, so we almost made it through. But I did do 18, 19 jars of pickled jalapenos last fall, so now I know to do 21, maybe just do 2 dozen. And not so much relish because we got a lot of jalapeno relish left. But yeah, who knows? All right, let's give her a shot. That's good. I like it. I think the gravy mixed with the cream of mustard brings something to it. Yeah, hands down. That is a good, simple meal. It's got a lot of, the jalapeno's got a bit of a kick to it. But it's got a lot of flavor. It even overcame the heat of the jalapeno. You know, you can taste the vegetables in it. You can taste the mushrooms in it. The jasmine rice is a hit with that. Yeah, but you could use your favorite rice, hands down. I could have even put the jalapenos in this, which would have been good. Yeah, give this a shot. For real. It's a good, quick weeknight meal. I mean, you figure the rice, if you're boiling it or cooking it while you're cutting up your chicken and your onion, because that's the only cutting you have to do. And rice doesn't usually take more than 10-15 minutes unless you're using a specialty rice. I cooked this jasmine rice in the rice cooker that we have. It took all of 15 minutes. It was done pretty much before I had everything else ready. So 15 minutes to do that while it's cooking. You're prepping up the few things you got to prep, getting the stuff together to put in it, and then boom, it goes together in 5 minutes. You got 45 minutes in the oven. So within an hour, with about 10 minutes worth of prep time, 15 minutes worth of prep time tops, you got dinner ready to put on the table, and you can go off and do whatever you need to do when it's cooking. So anyhow, give this a shot. Let me know what you think. Put it down in the comments below if you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you think I should just jump off the bridge because this was the worst recipe ever, or you might want to add it to your regular repertoire of dinner ideas. I know I'm going to. It's really good. So that being said, tomorrow we're going to do a chocolate marble cake. It will be my third time making it. The first time I made it, I was experimenting with what they call wet straps, and you wet them down, you put them around the cake pan, and I screwed up and one of the cakes didn't bake all the way through, so I had to make a second one, and that one went to a good friend of mine, Jeff, and his fiance for her birthday. That's what she wanted, and so I made her a cake, and it was a success. I know this because they told me it was. And then the third one we're going to make together tomorrow. So that'll be fun. It's a good cake, super moist. The homemade buttercream icing is to die for. It's fluffy, it's airy, it's got good... The cake is just amazing. Anyhow, that being said, I'm going to go put this on the table. Probably have some bread with it. You could also have a salad with this. You know, I mean, there's 1,000 different little things you could have with this, but it's pretty much an all-in-one meal. So, I'm going to throw this on the table, enjoy dinner with the family. Until tomorrow for cake, I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I truly do. Wouldn't say it if I didn't. And tell somebody else you love them. Like I tell Abby, I love her. And make them some casserole. It'll fill their belly and warm their heart, and they'll know that you really love them. You know, or invite a neighbor over and get to know them and have dinner with them. You know, we need that right now. We need a little more friendliness in our lives. All right, so till tomorrow. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow.